to come in parallel. So this guy, and then also we can do this guy as well. What is the UUID is string? Okay. So then we have hello everyone and welcome to another stream. Hello Latse. Hello Ali Prime Suban. How's it going, Ali? How are you doing today? Welcome to the stream, everyone. How is it going? How is your Sunday going so far? Awesome, alhamdulillah. Good to see everyone. So how many of you saw the virtual reality meetup that we did yesterday? Did you see that? Did you like it? What about you, sir? I'm good, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Leja, what about you? I'm good, thank you. It's Sunday, so it's nice. I still have to work on 2 recipes for the Angular cookbook, but so far I think it's good. I think I'm enjoying. I have some stuff to do still, but not too bad, to be honest. I hope you folks are doing really fine. And we're gonna look into the app as well. Right. Did we stop the? Yeah, we stopped the app. Unknown7 says, please answer my question on Discord. Programming help channel posted name J7. Sure, let's have a look. So Discord. Where's the programming help channel? There it is. Is this one? Thanks for replying. Actually, somehow managed to solve this. Was calling the function. Is this one? Junaid or? Ah, okay. Now I see your question. So open in full view. So here the question is, I didn't know about it, this Angular code feature, which I should, but never mind. Now I have known about it. So you're using interpolation inside, or your function inside interpolation, and that component, there were different click events, which in turn causes function to get invoked every time. So the question is, for those of you who are not familiar with Angular, the question is, should we be using this sort of thing inside Angular? And this is essentially us calling a function inside an interpolation, and this means we are doing change detection right here. So when it comes to change detection, Angular does not really know what triggers changes. So whenever there is anything happening, by default, Angular looks at events like HTTP calls, click events, key up, key down. So any browser event plus HTTP calls, set timeout, set interval. So those sort of web APIs, whenever that happens, Angular runs its entire change detection cycle for all components, unless you have marked some components for on push, for example, or if you're using signals. So Angular doesn't know, for example, if you have this being used in 50 different places, it's really hard to say this changed when, or when this changed. So Angular, on these events like click event, key up, key down, browser events, set timeout, HTTP calls, whenever something happens, it looks at all of these and then it runs them. Now, to coming to your question, if you should use a function inside interpolation, if the function is just retrieving a value and is a pure function, then it's okay to use it. And you can look at the definition of the pure function, but I can summarize it for you. A pure function is a function which takes some inputs and returns something back, but does not depend on any outside variable. So if you have a function, for example, I'm not sure if I have run.js. Oh, I do have. So for example, let's have a look at this one. I don't know what I've done with this, but it doesn't seem it doesn't seem nice to me. What happened to this guy? I have absolutely no clue what happened to this guy. Okay, run.js. Let's see if this. Nope. It seems like too zoomed in. So settings. Let's see. Build, appearance. Show tab bar for single tab. Theme Dracula, feed a code. But the app itself is so zoomed out, it doesn't make sense. Anyways, so I was talking about the pure functions. So if you have a function that takes some inputs, so for example, get some val, then that would mean that a pure function could be something like this that returns 5. So this is the simplest version of a pure function. Whenever you call this function, it is going to return the same value back. It doesn't matter how many times you call it. Similarly, if you had a function that says get double, and then you pass here a number, let's say some number, then what you basically do is you return this back. So some number into 2. And then you can, for example, console.log get double, and then you see console.lol, no, log. So here you can see that it is trying to return some number by 2. So we are not passing anything. Let's say if we pass 10, then you see the value 20 here. So it doesn't matter how many times I call this function with 10, the answer is always going to be 20. So this is called a pure function. It does not depend on any outside variables. But let's say if you had some value, let's say let y equals to 5, and then your function was get factored val, then this factored val essentially would return not only some number multiplied 2, but let's say plus 5 as well. Now the problem with this situation is that if I console log here value 10, it works fine. If I do it again, you see I still get 25. But let's say on the next line I say y equals to 9, and now I do the same thing. Now should I get a different value, or should I get the same value? And this should be y. So in the beginning you see I get 25, but in here I get 29, right? And I can also say console.log y val change to, and here you can say y. So here after our value has changed to 9, the answer now becomes different. So given the same input, if you're getting different outputs, that is not a pure function. So that is a definition of a non-pure function, that it depends on any external variables. Another problem with non-pure functions is that, for example, you had some, let's say, let sum object equals this. If your function changes anything in the sum object or an external variable, this prop or sum prop equals Ahsan. So now, even if so there are two problems now. One, it returns something different. Second, it modifies something outside of this function. So the only things that this function works with is not the input. It works with something external as well. So that is not a pure function. So I hope you got an idea of what is a pure function versus a non-pure function. So what I would encourage you to do right now is, give me one quick second. So and then maybe if I can go here. So if you're watching this on YouTube, there is a feature of clip. So whenever you see something that is there for clipping, make sure to clip that, so then we don't lose track of it. Okay, cool. In my case, it was a function which takes temperature k value and returns degree Celsius. It is a pure function. Yes, then it's a pure function, and then you should not be worried about calling this function. So if this is a pure function, no worries. If it does a lot of things apart from just what the function is supposed to do, then it can cause performance issues, because then on every click or on every render, you're getting your component re-rendered or this function being executed. So if your function, and you can try this, if you put this, if you put, let's say, a for loop for doing something 10,000 or 100,000 times, and then try to do click events, you'll see that your application is going to start to crash, or it's gonna not be fun in this case. So yeah, it's not nice to use a function for that. So I hope that makes sense. Right, coming back to the E2E test. So let's bring this guy here and let's run the tests. Which one is this? Waiting for the HTTP request in Cypress. Yes, so we just started this. Okay, so then I can work on the other ones as well. By the way, for those of you who are watching this video, make sure to give a like. That really pushes the content out to everyone and helps the channel grow as well, so we can reach out more people, give free content and free education to a lot of people as well. And if you are here for the first time, make sure to check out the courses site, which is CodewithAhsan.dev. We have about 360 students who have enrolled into the courses, or the free courses, or actually even more, so to say. So make sure to share this. People actually love the whole course, that we have really good reviews overall, so make sure to share them. I'm going to share the link right now in the chat. And there are more than, I think there are more than 80 or 90 lectures overall. All of them go in depth into a lot of things, and that includes a lot of activities as well. So you get to learn a lot of stuff, but the only thing is that this is in Urdu. So my followers are more from Pakistan and India. So I think this is probably really helpful for them. And if you want to look at the reviews, then you can absolutely look at this video. And I think everyone, there are more than 70 comments here, and all of them sort of say that this was a wonderful course. Thank you, sir. Premium quality content, blah blah blah. Such an amazing course. So yeah, I think this sort of wrap up really gives us the value of what the course was about. So have a look at that as well. And I'm going to share this video as well in the chat, so you can have a look. So share with others. So the more people watch this, the more people get to learn things for free. Right. Now, having said that, I'm gonna take questions as well, but I'm gonna be essentially working on the Angular cookbook as well. So let me add this Hmm. By the way, I was thinking of something. I had an event. No, I had a game, but that can be only played from Twitch. Do you think that would be a good idea to build it so that we can run it from anywhere? Do you think that's a good idea? So, for example, Facebook people would be able to work with that. Um, People from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of them would be able to play this, and I can show you what the game was. I'm not sure if I can run this though, or maybe I don't have it in my PC. Do I have it on my PC? Let's see. Let's think about what was the game called. It was CWA Twitchbot. I think that was the one, if I remember it correctly. Let's see. NPMI. But I did have to have the, let's see, process.env. Okay, so I did have to have the Twitch client ID secret and Twitch client ID. Hmm. But now I don't remember it. That's a problem. We'll see. Maybe not now, but we'll see. Because I had a reinstall of my Windows, so I think it probably will not work. But let's see if I can see Twitch client ID. Let's see if I can find it. Authorize blah blah blah. Twitch.tv. So I am logged in all right already in the mhm. So we have user access token, app access tokens, reference content. Mm, create Twitch client ID. Yes, I think that was the one, Twitch token generator. Mm-hmm. Connection is secure. Okay, and then we have the client ID. Hmm. User edit, manage the user, read user email, I think. Mm-hmm. It has been so long time where I actually did create the token for this one. Let's see. All right. Prove I'm not a robot. Yes. Okay. So then I have the client ID. Let's add this into the env file. So that's going to be the ID. Now give me 1 second so I can fill in the client ID and access token, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Service account, Google services.json. I don't have the Google services.json in here. Oh, then I would have, oh, okay. We'll see. All right. I'm going to try to do this quickly then. So Twitch client, Twitch username, Twitch password. No. So I'm not going to do this in this case. Mm. Mm. All right, let's not do that then, because then it takes a lot of time to do this, and then we won't be able to finish the book. All right, let's go away from this one. So let's close this, because it was a really cool game if I could play it, but no, we'll do that later. Don't save. Okay, getting back to the Angular cookbook. So the recipe that we are working on right now is one in which we should wait for the HTTP call to finish and then test something. So waiting for the HTTP calls to finish is the one. So if I go here, close run.js, this guy. So what I want to test right now is a bunch of things. So I think the first test that we do is to check if we have some users that we can work with. Let's see. Okay, so there was one more feature that we need to implement. Now I remember it. So if I go back to here, where's my group? So this one. So what we want to do is to implement a search here. So when we search for a particular user, we can see only that user right here. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to quickly implement it. So Twitch, I think it was Hyper, UI Kit, Tailwind. So let's go there. We're going to find some inputs to copy paste. Inputs. So we have email, this guy, search. This is the one that we want. So I'm not going to do it from scratch, but we can just copy paste the stuff. So let's go to start, apps, chapter 11, and we are working with the ngCY HTTP requests. And in here on the users page, we're going to have the input, right? So in here, let's add this. Ooh, this is huge. And this includes Tailwind CSS forms. Okay. So let's see. If I go here now, I should be able to see the search bar. So, all right. This does not look good at all. So maybe we should go with our own implementation of it. So we have label, search, input. All right, let's see. So this, let's fix this. So this should be flex. No. Yeah, this can be flex column. So we had a label, which we don't show. Then we have input and span, or we don't really need flex column in this case. Let's first work with the app. So we are not running the test. So npm run serve ngcy http requests. So this should be flex. We'll see the input. We'll see the button. I don't think we do anything with the button, but we'll see. So in this case, we have right now, if I refresh, we have the input, we have the search bar. Let's do some front end magic. So in here, we don't show the label. There's the input, and the width by default is 100%. So we're going to unset the width. And then we have this guy, which is supposed to be right here. So in here, it should be inset y0 and 0. What does and 0 mean? It's probably using the form plugin, but we'll see. So this should be right 0. So we should see it on the right side, right? Just like this. And then the button, we would probably have to have the button in a way that it doesn't override everything or doesn't have the outline. So in this case, we should say global.scss, and in here we do have some global styles. So this one button, and then we should have not reset, or we should rather say we should not have a particular style. So buttons not um or we should say no global, or we could say unset. So when we have unset, this should not apply to any one of those. So let's see. And we do have a package JSON which should have a copy styles. So let's run that as well. So npm run. All right. So now that we have done this, let's have a look at this. So this can now have the class unset. And now if I go to my app, I should potentially not see these ones, or would I still see them? So every app should include the global styles if they have not already. Let's see, project JSON. Yeah, so every style includes global style, but I think I would have to restart the. Oh, I would also have to. No, what? That's interesting. So I think I did two things. One, okay, npm run cd CodewithAhsan, run build. So we build the styles, and then we should be running the copy, and that should make this work. So I should also document this for myself as well. Generate E2E test, update global styles. So we need to run first shell npm or cd CodewithAhsan, npm run build, then dot, then npm run copy styles, and I think that should be good. So cd dot npm run copy styles, and we should be able to see the changes then. So if I go here, I should see, yes, the final globals now has this, and start global also has the change. Cool. So now I can say npm run serve ngcy http requests. So these small things are the one that take the most time. I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset the. Give me 1 second. Right, I'm gonna reset chat. Cookbook. Okay. This one can come on top of this. All right. And we can increase this a bit. Transform. Center horizontally. Okay. So now that we have this, you can see these do not apply. Cool. So let's move forward. We're gonna go to our component, and here Let's remove this guy. Let's make this whole thing have a margin bottom of 8. So we see some sort of margin. Saving users component, getting action from Helm CSLN configure. What are you talking about? Okay, so now we've got the space, and now we can type something. So what we want to do is, as we are typing, we should be able to fetch more information. So let's make that work as well with signals. So here we can have a signal for the input itself. So we can do something like const, or let's see. Yeah, so let's do, I mean, we could use just a form because we also want debounce to work with that. So thinking. Thinking still. So we could have the signal cause the debounce, or okay, let's do it this way maybe. I mean, we could, if we wanted to use signals, we could. If we, all right. So the question right now is, should I use a form, or reactive forms, or should I use, should I just use RxJS? And I think I'm going to go with RxJS. So we could say something like search user debounce input change. This is going to be an observable of a string, and this is going to be set, or this is not going to be an observable behavior subject. String equals, or we can just assign it. So this one, and this should be new behavior subject. So then what we want to do is we want to have a search input, which should be a signal, and it should be empty as a string. Then what we should have is, whenever this changes, we change this guy, which should have a debounce, and then it should work. So in here, we'll do two things. One, we're gonna first add an effect. So search, we can say search input change, or we could say input effect equals effect from signals. And in here, we should just say this dot search input dot, no, here we can say search input of change dot next, and here we can say search input. So what we are doing here with signals is that we are saying, hey, if we have, let's zoom in a bit. So here we are saying that whenever the search input changes, this effect will trigger, and this will set the value of search user input change, which is right here. But then what I want to do is, whenever this changes, then I want it to trigger or get the users for this case. So here I could say something like dot pipe. So here let's go with a pipe. And here we can say debounce of 500 milliseconds. It should be debounce time, not debounce. So let's remove debounce and observable from here. And then we can say, once this is done, then we subscribe. And we should also use the distinct until changed. So unless they are changed, we should be not doing anything. So once they change, then I get new search input val, and then I can do something like, I mean, I could pipe it actually. So let's do a merge map. So here, then I should have this user.service.getAll. But does it allow filtering? Not really, right? So get all. So here we should then use rather um, find by text or find by term. In this case, it should be this should have a term which is going to be string, and this is going to return. I'm still going to get all of them. So it's going to be something like this. So get all of them. Then we just filter out the users that match the term. So user dot name dot, and there's going to be multiple cases. So either by name or email. So we can say return user dot name dot to lowercase equals or includes. Oh, there's so many keys. I think the keys are first name, last name, and then okay, let's see. So const searchable key searchable props equals, and then this should be, and this should be inside the user. So this would be user.name.first, user.name.last, user.email. What else? User dot. I think that's it. So all of those three things. So I can do here is, if it matches any of those, then we send back the user. So we can say something like searchable props dot sum. So if any of that works, then we should be good. So we can say val, and we can say return val dot to lowercase dot includes term dot to lowercase. So that means that if I search something from a user, if it matches something in the first name, last name, or the email, then I will get those users back, which makes sense. So now I can say merge map find by term, and this is going to be the term. So we can say input val, and we can pass this right here. Where's my semicolon? Why does this cry? Oh, because I'm not returning it. So return input val, and then we should get users, and then we'd say search this dot users dot set users. So okay, so now we have written the code, so I think this should work. Let's see. But now we have to also bind this with the users. So let's see. So here we should have something like users component, and this is the input. So here we can say something like, I mean, this shouldn't be button in that case. We could just have a span that also looks like a button. And now here we could have on change, and here, or actually not change, but change. And here we can have on search well change event. So here we can go to the TypeScript file, and here we can say event input change, no, form input, no, event, no. How do we take out the input change event in this case? So if I do document dot query selector, or if I say cons L some wait a second, HTML input element, and then we say L dot add event listener change event. So what is going to be the type of the event? It's just going to be event. Okay. Then we can say event, and then we can say let's console log it first. So console.log event. Okay, so now we have set this guy, this guy. Let's try this out. So in my console, if I try to search for something, I should see the inputs. So test doesn't work. Why though? So if I do this, oh, because of, oh, okay. So then I would have to blur it, and that it works. Because change, that makes sense. So in this case, let's change this to input. So we are getting it out on the input rather than change. So now you can see the input, and you can always see the value, which should be in the target dot value. So here you can see the ASD value. So I can now say on search val change, we got this. And now all I need to do is to change the search input, which is a signal. But I think I'm doing it sort of walking around, because if then I don't really need the signal in order to do this. But let's see. But I think if I bind this signal to ng model, then I think it should be directly working with the model. Or would it be otherwise? Because if it's a settable signal, then we wouldn't be, I think ng model, I'm not really sure if it already has the value of it. Okay. All right, let's see. So if I needed to do ng model, then I would be using so when we have the change value here, I mean, yeah, let's do this. So we're going to say this dot search input dot set event dot target dot value, and the event target is, we have to sort of give it a type. So const search input element equals event dot target as HTML input element, and then we can say set search input dot value. So now if I do this, let's go here and let's have a look at the network call as well. So if I say ASD, and now you see after a while we see the call. So it waits for 500 milliseconds and then everything works, right? So you can see that. Now if I say Melina, there we go. Then we have Ruben, WH, Mo. Now we have Thomas Morris and Larissa Dumont. All right, so ours works now. So I think we should be good. One thing that I want to change though is, I mean, probably doesn't matter much, but the whole page looks a bit weird when it comes to mobile experience. So even if it's, I think, is it main itself? I think the main should have something. So margin MX 8, I think. Or no, I think the content itself has a bit of class to it. So when it comes to users, no, let's see. So content, I think it also comes from the globals CS. So the content that we have: display flags, margin 0 auto, max width 960 pixels. So in this case, we would have the content, if I say MX 8, and if I do this, so here you can see that the margin here is a bit different for this case. And then we also have MD MX0. So from medium and onwards, this will become 0, and I think we should be good. Whoopsie. Okay. All right. Not going to go into styles at the moment. So now we are able to find Hans, and there we go. Cool. So our application is ready now, and we can right now run the tests. Cool. So let's stop the server. Let's stop the server. Let's see how many files did we change. Find by term. Behavior subject. Did we lose any, or did we put any console logs that I need to remove? No. Okay, so then we can say git add, git commit, fix, and gcy http requests, and let's say add search users feature. So let's do that. All right, so now we can make the tests. All right, let's see. So, oh no, I have two more or one more. So waiting for XHR to finish testing user resistance of end-to-end testing. While it's important to test the predicted outcome of any action right away, there might be cases where it actually has a dependency. For instance, if the user fills out the login form, we can show the success. Okay, so let's copy paste the starting keys. All right, let's see. So this guy, let's copy pasta this one. Okay, so this becomes this. Okay, so now we have the app that we are going to work with resides in chapter 11, and gcy http requests inside the folder. Let's copy this guy, and it is inside the, and the repo we are going to modify the E2E in the E2E project only, in the E2E project only. Tests by following these. So open the code repository in E2E, blah blah blah, npm run E2E ngcy http requests, and now we can say this should open Cypress window. Okay, so once we run the tests for this, let's run npm run E2E ngcy http requests. So once we do so, this should run the tests, and we should be able to actually take a screenshot as well. All right, let's run this guy. Chrome, start E2E testing, and let's put this guy right here. So app cy, let's bring this down. Okay, so now we can see this. We should take a screenshot of this. And there we go. Let's add the image. Oops, nothing happened. Let's see. Let's take the screenshot again. Copy, paste. Okay, so we have pasted this. What file number are we on? I'm definitely missing some of them. So 11.45. No. So 11.1. No, 11.0. What? No, 11.1. 11.2. 11.3. 4. And then we have another 4. So this should be 5. Oops. 11.5. 11.6. And now this is going to be 7. And we have 8. So now the one that I just added is supposed to be 9. Okay, so this is going to be ngcy http requests app. Now that we have the Cypress test running, look at, so all the tests are running fine. The most basic test now works fine, even though we have XSR involved in the getting the data. Okay, no, I don't think that. Okay, I'm thinking. Okay, so then. Okay. All right, so let's do one thing. So we're gonna say, hey, we will have. So we're gonna have to test one thing, and that is if I search for something like this thing, then it should get the data and whatever we are asserting works. So I think we can start with writing a test that first passes, then it fails, and then we fix it somehow. So, okay, so then we can say, or we might want to have some tests already in place. Maybe let's make this easy. Or actually, let's add a test. So we can say we're going to start. We are going to start with some tests which will work just fine. However, if there's a delay in the response for the HTTP calls, they will fail. And that is because Cypress has a timeout of 4,000 milliseconds, during which it tries to assertion again and again until the assertion passes. If our but what happens if I more than 4? Okay, so first of all, we need to simulate the scenario with the desired result course after. All right, we can start with saying we'll write the basic test first, and I think I should copy the test from the from my old Angular cookbook as well. Hey Ruwaida, how's it going? So open this one, Angular cookbook. Let's see if I can find the test. So chapter waiting for XHR. Is this final? Let's go to the final one, and here we should have services, blah blah blah, app. Where are my E2E tests? Cypress, fixtures, integration, app spec. So the app spec here does nothing but the user test. So this is what we should be looking at. But we did not really talk about aliases, or did we? No. Oh, okay. We'll see. Oh, because this was the final. So we should be looking for the starter code. Start here, wait for XHR, plugins, integration, and this should be the test. Cool. So I'm going to copy this as well, and CY visit users. Okay. So let's go to our test. Not this one, but this one. So right now it goes to users, which is fine. Then we should have a users.spec.ts, I think. Right? So then let's close this guy. We're going to go to our start. Apps, chapter 1, E2E, this one, and there should be something called users.cy.ts. So for the app, I think it's good enough, but for users, we need more. So I'm going to copy, paste the stuff from here. Let's add this. So this is going to be describe slash users cy http requests slash users. So in this case, we should be having this. Let's quickly go ahead and add this. Now I want to get the users cards, and then to be able to then see the length of it. So here, if I go right here, there should be a class I could use. So app users list, and then we have UL and LI. So I can probably just say inside the app users, get the user and LI. So let's create a PO, and then here we should have a users.po.ts. So we have export const get users cards, and here we should just say return cy.get app users ul li. Okay, and then we can use it right here. So we can say get user cards should, and then we should have the length. But then I could just say should have length 10. We can remove this guy. And now let's go to our CY testing. Let's go to the specs, and we have users.cy.ts. So this should be working. So 10 users, we already got those, and then should get the user list on searching. So now what I should do is I should go to add a PO. So get search input, and the input that we have right now, we would have to add a particular class to the user input. So in this case, there is an ID search, but we could add a data test ID. We could say something like search users input, and since it's an ID, let's use camel case for this one. So then I can in the POTS say something like data test ID equals search user input. Okay, so get search input dot type. Which user should we find? Ruben, maybe. So here we should have get, and we say Rube, and then we should have get users list should have length 1, and then we should also say that this, and we should also be then evaluating that the user's name is correct. But if I run the test, both of them pass, because the first test we get everyone, as you can see right here. For the second test, we search one guy, so we get the input, we type Rube inside, and then we get just one guy right there. So that's how you write the end-to-end test for with Cypress. And then we should also be checking if the name says Ruben. So should, or actually let's have a look at the, let's have a look. What am I testing right now? One of the recipes from the Angular cookbook. So where is my app? So in here, where does this name come from? So this name is inside a heading, which is h4. So we can go ahead and say, hey, dot find h4 should contain text, and I should say Ruben. What is the full name of Ruben? Ruben Wheeler. So then I should have all the tests passing. There you go. So now it also checks that that it contains the Ruben Wheeler text as well. Okay, quickly. So this test then works. So then I'm thinking maybe we could do something like L dot, or expect L dot text dot trim to expect to equal Ruben Wheeler. So we are ensuring that this matches this guy. Can we format this? Okay, cool. And this should also pass. Cool. Nice. So now we have the test ready. So let's write the tests quickly now in the Angular cookbook. Can this be done with Nightwatch.js as well? I haven't tried it, to be honest. So I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we can. We will write. We will write our tests first. We'll check. We'll make sure that we get 10 users from the HTTP calls response. So HTTP calls response. So that is our first test. We will write. But before that, we will create the desired page objects for this recipe in the users.po.ts file as follows. So we're going to be updating the POTS file just like this. So let's copy paste that code as follows, blah, blah, blah. And there we go. What does the arrow sign mean? That means it is an arrow function. So you can either create function my function and this. So this is your function. That's one valid way. Another valid way is const my function to and the arrow function. So both of them are, and it complains because I don't have a log there. So console log, blah, blah, blah. Now no errors. And I can also say log. So both these notations are correct. So that's the arrow function. Okay, so now I can put this right here, paste text only. Okay, and let's remove this guy. And once we have the PO ready, then we write our first test. So then update, we can say update the user.cy.ts file to add the following test. But the thing is, then we shouldn't have anything in the users. Okay, we'll find. So add the following in the to add the following test in the user. Oh, the following test. And then we can have this guy right here. But then we can copy all of this and paste. Oh no, what did I do? All right, now I can copy this, paste text only. And now I can say, hey, I've got to have, for the first test, do I need all of it? I don't think so. So just get user cards. Okay. So then get search input. We can remove this from here. So import get user card from user PO. That's going to be one. Then your first screen is not visible at all. Yes, I've blurred it. So this is supposed to be confidential content unless this is published by the book. So yes, this is blurred. And I've blurred it. Yes. Okay, so get user card, blah, blah, blah. We go to cy.visit, maybe users. Should I change it to users? The test should still be passing. Cool. So we go there. And then we have update the user server. Okay, so then we should have the first test only, remove the second one. And there we go. We got our first test in. Hey, now we can write the second test. We will write another test to check if we get the searched results, searched users based on the search inputs value. Add another test in the users.cy.ts file as follows. And here we can do it. It seems pretty similar to Nightwatch. Then it would be. I haven't worked with it, so I have no clue. Does it allow you to do the same thing, run on multiple browsers as well? Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we go right here, move everything, bring this guy back, non-bold stuff. There we go. Have blah, blah, blah. And I think now we can add this guy. Okay, so we got the second test in place as well. For the one that we saw in the beginning, should display the correct header. Okay, so the first image seems fine to me. Now the second test has been, so this is the initial state of our recipe. So this is good. And I think now we just need to make sure that this is the starting point. Or at least we should have this guy already there. user start. We'll see. Okay, so this is good enough. Selenium packages. Okay, that sounds good. Yes, I think Nightwatch is also, I think Nightwatch, and there's also another one that I can't recall. Maybe Playwright. Playwright is the name. So I think that's also a really good player in the market as well for end-to-end tests. Okay, so here we can now say, whoops, we can now say you should see both of the tests passing as shown in figure. What is the next figure number? It's 11.10 in figure 10. And now we can add the figure. So the tests are passing. Okay, so we can say do. All right. Let's do this. So we should have a screenshot like this. Copy, paste it here. And then we should have the app or the image number as well. So here we have figure 11.10. Initial tests or tests for the user page passing. Now, first of all, we need to simulate the scenario where there is that. So now that we have everything passing, we are going to make it fail forcefully. So we're going to try to say, hey, what happens if my HTTP calls takes a lot of time? It still returns the result, but my tests, would they be passing if my server is slow or something? So that's what we are going to look at. So first of all, we need to stimulate the scenario where the desired result occurs after 4,000 millisecond. We'll use a deboss time operator for our delay of 5. Let's apply it on value changes to observable to the search form. Okay, so in this case, if I change my I think what we should do, to be honest, is to change the user service, and this just add something like a pipe and debounce time, to be honest, of 5,000. If I do this, you're going to see that the app still works. But the tests, I'm not sure if they would pass. I think. Let's try the app now. So now if I refresh, let's see if I can find it in the sources. So users.service service.ts. Refresh. So this comes here, takes a debounce time, or I think it's not debounce time, then I would have to do not debounce time, but delay. Let's see. If I go to user service and if I use delay of 5,000, what happens then? So now you see that there is we've got the response, but the render takes about 5 seconds. So I refresh, I've got the response, but it takes about 5 seconds to actually send it back to the component. So that's what we are trying to simulate. Let's remove debounce time from this one. And that means that if I run my test again, they will not pass. So even though it sends back the response after 5 seconds, the test fails because it times out. So it says timed out retrying after 4,000 milliseconds. So this is what we're trying to do. So here we can say we'll use the delay operator from RxJS with a delay of 5,000 milliseconds. Let's apply this it in the user service.ts file as follows. So in here, I'm gonna actually go file in the project as follows, and then we can copy the code from here. Let's go. and shift paste text. Okay. And here we should have everything, but so here I think the only thing that we added was this pipe. Yes. And we don't need anything apart from the delay. So this goes there. If you now check the Cypress test, you should see them for failing as follows. So we can see them right here. So let's show the test. Let's show them the test number as well as the failing tests. All right. Shown in figure 111.1. And then we have 11 session failing test searching for a particular user. We can now try to fix it. How long did we always wait for? Okay, so now what we need to do is to work with the test. So we are waiting for the calls all the time. It doesn't matter how much time it takes. So for the test that we have in the in searching, we need to fix that. So users.cy.ts in here before each, I think this is where we could do it, right? So in here, we'll change this, and then we'll also do this right here. So we are going to replace any call that includes a user.json. So if I see here, I have the assets and users.json. So anything that ends with users.json, we're going to call this search users. Okay. And then all we need to do is we can use the alias later on. And then we could say wait search users. Okay. So that means that I would have to put it right here. And then I would have to put it right here as well. Let's see. So Cypress tests. Let's see. Is that because we are not having it correctly? So where it says search for users, it tries to run. Oh, I think this should be up here. So let's see. Assets users.json. So maybe we should rather say assets users.json. Nope. So what are we missing here in this case? It says timed out retrying after 5,000 milliseconds. Mm-hmm. Mm. What did I miss? Wait a second. cy.wait. Mm-hmm. Mm. But then, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. So this should be assets users.json. Let's put it directly. Okay, so in here it says to have length of 10, but got this undefined 4000 milliseconds. This one 4000 milliseconds as well. So if we are intercepting anything that includes assets users.json, then it should wait for it. It's at 4000 milliseconds. Okay, so this one, it marks is the request matched with alias, right? Then it was waiting for it, but it did not find anything. Ah, okay. No, wait a second. Ah, okay. So the problem is the request, it doesn't take as long as. Okay, so now I know what's the problem. So the problem in our code is that we are not really delaying the request, we are delaying the response. So okay, so we would then have to do something like this. This wouldn't work. We would have to do off, and this is going to be of empty dot pipe delay 500, and then we would have to have a merge map, and then here we can return. This would work with the test. Let's see. Mm-hmm. So here it says this request matched it, but it failed even before. Learn more. Do we have 5000 as the maximum timeout? So Cypress detects that the matching request has begun its request. It switches over to the second beginner. Okay, so Cypress will wait up to 5 seconds for a matching request to be created. If no matching request is found, you will get an error message that looks like this. So, okay. So then we should be mentioning this in the book as well. Okay, so that means that we would have to either say that wait for the timeout to be 600, 6,000, no, 6 or 6,000. No, wait a second. Let's make it 10. Whatever time it could take. And then that also means that we would be doing the same here. But after doing this, I think the tests should be fine. Where are my tests? Yeah, so the first one passed, now that you see it. And now the second one passes as well. So in Cypress, you can't have anything that takes more than 5,000 milliseconds. Hmm. Okay, then I should mention it in the book. User service. So then I would have to do this. Let's change that in the book now. So what we did was we actually did this. Hey Rishwaraj, how's it going? So empty, observable. Let's change this guy. Okay, so then we should have the empty observable delay map. Okay. Um, want to browser view is blurry. Yeah, I've done that on purpose. So Angular Cookbook is uh, is confidential or is supposed to be confidential. So you can see the tests here or what we are doing, but not the content of the book. Since we want to delay the execution or the initiation of the HTTP call, we start with an empty observable. Okay, I think I can put that in the explanation then. So empty observable delay map merge map off from RxJS. So all of that. So then what we ended up doing was doing all of this, and that should make sense. Cool. So now that we have, all right. So user CYTS should have no alias, no waiting time, and no waiting time as well. Cool. Now that I think about it, if I have to hmm no, I don't think there's a view that sort of simulates the delay of the HTTP call, or there's a plugin. So I think maybe what we have done so far is fine. I'm thinking if there's a better way of saying, hey, I'm initiating this HTTP request. Can you please send the response, but after a delay? Because we get the response quickly. It's a JSON file. But then the problem is that we don't really want that for a test. We want to simulate that the data comes from the server quite late. I think it's really hard to do so. Anyways, all right. So once we have this done, then we can say, hey, now in order to fix this, what we are doing is first of all, in the describe, we have the before each and the CY test as well. So in this case, let's do both of them. So from here to here, let's shift this, paste test only. Okay, and then we have this. So first we change the before. Hey Alan, how's it going? So we have the assets user.json. So maybe just do a backslash assets users.json. Let's see if this passes. Or would we have to do? Oh, but where is our? Oh, we're not waiting for it. Yeah, that's why. So then this should pass. There we go. Okay. Awesome. So did I just close my test? Focus. No. So that's the test. Okay. So then I have this right. Oh, I closed the snipping tags. Okay. So then we have the HTTP request, blah, blah, blah. Good. Just got done with my project. I think, did you see it? No, not really. I didn't get time to see it. I'll probably look at it next week or Monday. But how did it go? It was something with 3JS, right? So here, update the users.cy.ts file as follows. So we update this file. We say cy visit users. Then we go to do this. And this guy. So let's add the cy.wait. And we can do this right here. And now we can add the tests. Okay, so then both of our tests should be passing instead of just the one. Oh, awesome. That sounds good. Yeah, I remember someone from the previous bootcamp also using Three.js. They were really happy about it as well. Absolutely, it's a good one. I think the possibilities are endless when it comes to Three.js and what you can make from it. Right, let's see. So in this case, have we added anything at all? So I think not anything here, to be honest. So I can remove this guy. And then we have we can remove the before each. And then we can add the cy.wait and then also cy.wait. And then make it small. Cool. If you check the Cypress is now for user spec.ts, cy.ts, you should see all of them pass as follows. So then I think we should just be showing this guy. And I think we can now take a screenshot and then go from there. Update the image. Tests waiting for exit before the assertion. Great. Now you know how to implement E2E test, blah, blah, blah. So the Cypress can listen to network call. Note we are using Vulkan by using okay, we're not using, we use a specific URL that is slash assets slash users.json as a parameter, and then we use the as search users statement to give an alias for this interception. Then we use the cy.debate search user statement using the search user alias to inform Cypress that it must wait until the alias interception happens. That is, this makes it even though the regular 4000 millisecond Cypress timeout and the 5000 milliseconds, about 5 seconds timeout for HTTP call, Cypress has already passed calls before actually making. अब्दुल रहमान अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर जी, कैसे हो आप क्या बिल्ड कर रहे हो? हम फिल वक्त एक ऐप बिल्ड कर रहे हैं जिसमें वी हैव अ बंच ऑफ यूज़र्स, और उन यूज़र्स को आप क्लिक करके दूसरे पेजेस पे जा सकते हो और वहाँ पे आप यूज़र्स का डेटा देख सकते हो। और साथ ही साथ जो है फॉर एग्जांपल दिस वन, नाउ आई कैन गो बैक। अभी हमने थोड़ा सा डिले लगाया हुआ इस पे फॉर टेस्टिंग, तो यू कैन सी द डेटा कम्स इन और फिर हम क्लिक कर सकते हैं। इसी तरह हम सर्च कर सकते हैं किसी को, जैसे हम अगर फीलिक्स सर्च करते हैं तो इट विल टेक सम टाइम और फिर इट विल शो अस द डेटा। ठीक है, तो अभी हम जिस रेसिपी पे काम कर रहे थे, वी वर लुकिंग इनटू कि हम API रिस्पॉन्स का वेट कैसे करें एज मच एज पॉसिबल। तो यस, दैट्स व्हाट वी हैव डन। हाउ अबाउट यू, व्हाट आर यू वर्किंग ऑन? Note that Cypress has a default timeout of 4000 milliseconds for assertions instance, such as checking if an element has a is visible or has a particular text, and it has a default timeout of 5000 milliseconds for HTTP calls to be initiated. This made our test a bit tricky since we are delaying the initiation of the HTTP call initiation of the HTTP call while trying to simulate that the response is delayed from the server. Um, Due to this, we had to use the options argument for cy.wait. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay. Option cy.wait including the timeout set to 6000 milliseconds, which waits for Cypress, or which allows Cypress to which allows Cypress to wait for the call to be initiated um, in the 5000 milliseconds hard coded to user service. In a real world scenario, your HTTP call will be instantly initiated and the response may be delayed. Cypress waits for 5 seconds for the call to be initiated, so you should be fine. And as soon as the call is initiated, Cypress defaults to the 30,000 milliseconds timeout to wait for the response. Okay, then I think we have good. Okay, so now I have how many recipes remaining? 2. All right, I think the next two would be simpler, so we'll go to our set. सर जी मैं भी वेब डेव कर रहा एंड लर्निंग के साथ मंडे को एक सॉफ्टवेयर हाउस ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ, वहाँ शायद मैं फ्लटर सीखना स्टार्ट करूँगा, 2 दिन पहले ग्रेजुएशन हो गई मेरी जी. ज़बरदस्त माशाल्लाह. Congratulations, really happy. All the best and good luck. So having said that, I will jump off now. So thank you so much everyone who joined. I'm going to continue working on the recipe later on to finalize this one and then work on the next two ones. So thank you, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.